Megan here. Today I wanted to show you my process for setting up a medium-sized diamond painting to work on. In terms of the containers I use and how I go about labeling it. I did make a similar video back 8 or 9 months ago, but my process has changed a bit and I use different containers now. So I thought I would do a little update as to my process. And I want to preface this video by saying that this is my process, and in no way does that mean that you have to do this way. It's just what's easiest for me and what works for my brain. So if this is helpful to you, great. If it inspires you to try something new, great. If not, that's okay too. So let's get started here. This is a 40 by 50 centimeter diamond painting. I've already done inventory on it and we're all good with drills. I did have one sticky color, 3 bags of it, that is currently drying on my counter, so I already washed them. I guess I should, by sticky drills, I meant oily drills. So it's a Harry Potter one. I call it newspaper Harry Potter because it looks like newspaper. And it says, "I solemnly swear that I am up to no good." So all you Harry Potter nerds, you're with me. And I've gone ahead, this is the sheet that I use in my diamond painting inventory binder. So I've gone ahead and written down like all of the classifying information, you know, how much it was, the seller. This is from 7 Color Sunflower. It was $19.49. Again, it's 40 by 50. I got it off of AliExpress. It has 34 colors. It's a full square drill. So the next thing I do when I'm trying to contemplate this process is I look at the symbols in the chart, or on the key, I guess I should say. So what I like to do is I usually like to start with the numbers, the letters, and then I go to numbers, and then I go to symbols. So in this one, you can see, hopefully, that I've got A, and then little a, B, C, D, E, little e, G, little g, H, I, J, and it goes on and on and on. And then this one, this is a different diamond painting altogether, but this one just goes from letters to symbols. So I've done some drawing with the symbols because my Dymo labeler didn't have all of the symbols on there. There were some wacky ones. So let's look at some of the options that I have in terms of storage containers. So I've got a few here that are sort of prepped and ready. These are prepped and ready to go. This one, not so much, but so I found, so these are the containers from Harbor Freight that I heard a lot of good things about from other YouTubers. And I think that they are I'm pretty sure they're probably my favorite container system for a couple reasons. Number one, 24 little containers fit in this box. So this is 48 colors. So with this painting, this particular painting happened to have 48 colors. So I used 2 Harbor Freight containers, plus they're really cheap. I got, I think, a 2-pack for like $4 or something. I just went online to harborfreight.com and bought them there. So that's one of the options, is the Harbor Freight containers. I do really like those. The next option I've got are these stackable towers of jars. Now this one is actually one that I prepped on camera. No, actually this wasn't the one I prepped on camera. I did prep one of these wave pictures on camera, but not this one. So I really like this because They hold a decent amount. Oh, and the other reason why, sorry, that I like these is because they hold so much at once, in comparison to these little ones that don't hold very much. But these ones hold like a medium amount, and I like them because they're pretty. First of all, they're pretty, but also they're compact and they're sturdy, and they don't pop open, which is nice. These ones tend to pop open sometimes that I've mentioned before. I just had that happen to me like a couple hours ago, actually. And then these are the extra colors I have. And I just put the whatever symbol was on it. So this one was the number 5. So when I run out of this color, I'll just refill it with this. So this diamond painting, this particular diamond painting uses this and this. So these are all for one diamond painting. This is another diamond painting I've got in my queue. It's a T-Rex. I put on here 9 total containers because I chose to, this was one of those that had like a lot of background color and just a little focus. So there's a lot of orange. So I've got 2 of these big containers of orange. 740 is the DMC code. And then I've got a lot of this green color too, which is $6.99. And then the rest of them were pretty low quantities of drills. So I used 6 of these containers for all the colors there. And then I just went ahead and I forgot how I had them in here. There. And then I used, actually this big container is from some of these jars that I have. It's just a different set. It has a different clasp. So I just put them all in there because right now I'm using the containers for other diamond paintings. And so I didn't need that container right now. This one is another one that I have so I've got 2 of a lot of the white. This is for a Harry Potter one with a white background, and then a bunch of smaller quantities of color. And then, of course, you have the bag system as well that you can do. So when I'm contemplating what I should use, I look at what I have available right now. So I have a lot of containers, but they're all sort of being used right now because I've prepped some of the ones that I wanted to do next. So these are the containers that I have available. I have a lot of these, but I just brought one just to show you. So I've got a full set of the tower jars. I've got 1 box of the Harbor Freight, 1 measly little container of 4, and then I've got about 8 of these. So what I do is I look at the amount of color I have. So I'm looking and I'm seeing that that there are 34 colors total. So I take that into account first, and I think, okay, there's 34 colors. This is 24 altogether. This is 28, but I don't have 6 of these, so I would have to probably use 6 of these, and this is 6 of those. And this, with all of these, just, it feels like it's too much happening. It's too loose. It's too many containers that aren't contained, if that makes sense. So what I'm choosing to do instead, I will use all of these. So that's 24, so I need 10 more containers. I look on here next at how much, like the quantity of some of the colors I have, because some of the colors you have, 20 bags for. So on here, there are 6 different colors that have 12 or above, 12 or more bags. So I've got 13, 13, 12, 19, 14, and 18. So I could use 6 of these, but again, that's a lot of containers, just like with this, that are loose and can get lost. So what I'm choosing to do is I'm going to take 10 jars, because this is 24, so I need 10 more containers. So I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I like these towers too, because you can just like do whatever you want with them and configure them however you want. All right, so I just made a gigantic tower of jars. For some reason that isn't looking right to me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I have 10 jars and I have 24 containers. 24 and 10 is 34. So now I'm ready to start taking out these bad boys and putting them in here. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about a tower this big. So what I could do is I could just have 2 towers, 2 shorter towers, and I can use an extra lid that I have there to contain it so they're smaller. I can even use this if I wanted to. I could take this off and I could put this smaller one on the bottom so I didn't have any tread here. So I could use it like that. And so we'll just see. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, so let's just hold off on that and we'll figure that out in a little bit. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at, this is the same sheet as this. This is a copy. This is the one I'm going to cut up. So I look on here, and what I like to do, like I said, is I like to do alphabetically, then numerically, and then the symbols. But as I look down this key, I'm noticing that there's not a lot. There's mostly symbols in this key. I think there are 12 letters, and the rest are symbols. Some people like to go in order of DMC code. That's not me. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like to use the DMC code other than storing the extra drills, because I like to have my symbol right on my container, because it's one less thing I have to do. Because if I'm diamond painting and I see a star and I put the DMC code on my container, then I have to look for the star on the key on the side of the canvas, and I have to say, okay, the star is 169. I'm going to find the 169. Like, that's too much. That's like an extra step that I don't want to have to deal with. So I just use the symbols themselves. So I still do the same thing in terms of cutting the symbols out, because I like having the background color on there. It helps me to find, especially when you have a bunch of colors that are all symbols like this, and you can't delineate between, you know, there's no real way to sort them too much other than DMC code. But like I said, that's kind of a moot point because I don't use it. I'm not going to use it along with the symbol. So I think I'll just go right down the list with this one, including the letters. I just don't think it's worth it. So instead what I'll do is I'll be really intentional about the quantity of color that I'm putting in a bag, or in a container, I mean, and try to make as little extra as I possibly can. Because as you guys know, if you've seen my previous video from the past, from, you know, 8 months ago or whatever, sorry, I would cut this out and then put it on my container. So I've gone ahead and just snipped between all of the symbols, and I'll show you why in a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and go right down the list here, because these can fit approximately 11 to 12 bags, I believe, we're gonna figure that out today, of drills. So we will need a few extra bags of drills, which, by the way, I don't have my bags with me, so I'll just have to do that later. Okay, so, and actually, I don't even think I'm going to worry about going in order of anything, because it's all about what I pick out. Because these containers are so large. So I think what I'll do for these jars can fit less than these. So I'm going to save the smaller amounts for these ones. So maybe like the 2s and 3s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one of the towers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So now I know that all the rest of these colors go into these. Okay. So let's just go ahead. I'm just gonna go for it because there's no real order anyway. So what I do is I'm going to take some tape. I'm choosing not to use my Dymo labeler today on purpose, because I want to show you how to do it without a Dymo labeler. And it's just really simple with tape. So this is DMC code 524. And it's actually the letter G. So what I do here is I just grab the little tabby, and then I cut it off right next to the symbol. And then I cut the symbol. I have a trash boat there. And then I'll take the symbol. I'll put it on my tape, like that. And then with these ones though, you have to kind of open them to put the symbol on. And then I'll just tape it on, like that. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and I'll open my baggies. Okay. All right. The other tricky thing about these containers is that they tend to tip. If you notice, before I even put the drills in, or before I put the drills in, the lid weighs it down like that. When there's drills in it, it doesn't do that. It's too heavy to do that. But you just have to be careful when you're opening it. If you put it down and there's not a lot of drills in it, it could flip over. But I haven't had that problem yet. The other issue is when they're like that and then you pick them up, there's drills along the top edge. So you just have to like give it a tap and they'll fall down, and then you can open it without spilling. So there's G. The next one I'm just picking out of the pile is 3866. So let me get some tape. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get some tape ready. Oops. Maybe this isn't going to be helpful. Okay, I'm going to get some tape ready, and I'm just going to stick it right here so I can just keep cutting from it instead of having to stop every time. Okay, so the reason why I'm giving the edges a snip with this tape is because I'm thinking ahead of time. because when I go to take off these labels to reuse my containers, because I reuse all of my containers, it's going to be really, really tricky to peel the tape off of the containers when when they have jagged edges, like what the tape does with the jagged edge. So I make it a flat, straight edge so that it's going to be really easy to take off. So I can just grab the corner. You know how like when you're trying to get a piece of tape off and you get a little piece of it, but because of the zigzag, it comes off in like a little tiny strip. So this is what I found works for me to take off my labels. Someone had asked me a question on one of my videos as to whether I reuse my containers. Absolutely. Absolutely. You'd be silly not to. Okay, this one's 822. So that's the letter V. So I'm just going to take some of the tape that I have over here. I just like got a big long piece of it over here. So I'm just going to cut from it. Now next time I won't have to cut twice because it won't be perforated, because I already cut the edge. Okay, so 822 is a V. It just so happens that the first three I'm doing are letters. And again, the reason why I'm careful about how I cut the symbol is because if it were like a parenthesis or a symbol that looked different depending on its orientation, you have to be careful about transferring your symbol from the key to your container. If you turn it, it could mean a different symbol, like an arrow or whatever. So you have to be very cognizant of your symbol orientation, I suppose. Especially when you're actually doing the diamond painting. You definitely want to make sure if you're having it upside down, that you're reading the symbols correctly. So this is 317. 317 is a little like, I don't even know. It reminds me kind of like an eyeball, but it's not really an eyeball. All right. And then this one only has 2 baggies. I'm a fan of saving as much space as I can. That's why I use a mixture of different containers, because I don't want to use a big container if I don't need it, because I might need it for another painting. And I know a lot of you are just like me, and you like to organize your drills as much as you like to do the diamond painting. That's the case with me especially. I like to organize. Not that my whole life is organized, but I like to organize what I can. And doing this is kind of, sort of just monotonous, but it's like therapeutic monotonous. Therapeutic monotony. And it's redundant, and I like it. So that's why I do it. That's why I have so many prepped. Now I'm not finding in this, with these drills, I'm not finding a lot of static. If I was having a static issue, I would be putting a piece of dryer sheet in in each container at the bottom usually, or at the top. But I'm not finding that problem yet, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna try to fix something that's not broken. So, all right, and then we keep going with this until they're all, whoa. See, you gotta be careful. Hopefully they'll just slide in. Come on. Okay, good. All right, so we just did 6 colors. That didn't take very long. But again, I'm just putting the symbol on there. I'm not worrying about the DMC code because when I'm done with the painting, I can just look at this and I can see that, okay, if I want to put, you know, away the G, I can look at here and say, oh, G was 524, so let's put it in the 524 section of my extra storage, or my extra drills, you know? So this one is 3031. And, you know, a lot of people do it differently. A lot of people draw the symbol. I did that on the ones I mentioned that I already showed you. And that was because I didn't get an inventory sheet with that custom from Huican. Well, and the other thing about that is I could have made my own inventory sheet, and I did make my own inventory sheet for my records. But the problem was I didn't have like enough ink, so it didn't, when I made the copy of it, it ended up not looking right. So I didn't want to use those symbols because they had like a red tint to them or something, and they were blurry, and it just wasn't a good copy. It was horrible. But I didn't have time to fix it at that moment, so I couldn't do anything about it right then. All right, so I'm going to switch gears, and instead of doing these, I'm going to do these and show you that process. So this is 3787. It's like the that sand timer symbol. All right, so the bottom jar of these are much thinner, and I really don't want any tape to be what do you call it? Hanging down. So there we go. And you can see the sticky residue of the past diamond paint, you know, the past symbols that were on that jar. It's not sticky, it's just like, it looks kind of goopy, but it's not, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. So I'm intentionally putting, of the ones I picked out for this tower, there was one that had just one bag. So this one is a little tiny bit smaller, I think, than the other ones. So the next tower up is, or the next jar up, we'll do 646. All right, so some of you are probably like, if you're still even watching this video, you're probably crawling in your skin because I am not super like OCD when it comes to this stuff. But I know a lot of you are because of your organization and your preciseness and everything. Not that it's like diagnosed OCD or anything, but so if you don't like doing it, well, you could have just gone down the list, but that means I would have to like search through this pile, and I just don't want to do that. So we're just going with it. Hi, Princess. You're gonna get stuck on my tape. All right, 413. Oh, by the way, Chris told me to tell everyone hi. He went out on the town tonight with one of his friends who's moving to a different part of the country. So he is out bar hopping with one of his friends tonight. So it's just me right now. One of my other friends might come over later, but I thought I would get some of this done with you. All right, 844. Yeah, I'm really liking this tape. I have it hanging over here, just like a long piece of tape. That's really helpful. Oops, I kind of did this backwards, didn't I? That's okay. Even if you do something like that, it's fine because you still have the bag and you can still see that it's 844. So I'm just gonna go back and get my little symbol here. Oops, there. And the only tricky thing about these towers is that you want to make sure that it's tight enough, not too tight, but tight enough so that you're putting all your symbols on one part. Because when it's, well, it's not as important, I guess, when you're not using a whole container of them. But when they're all laying there, you want to you don't want to have to like turn them around and stuff. You want to just be able to see all of them in one shot. So this one is 3799. This is a pretty long process depending on the size and the quantity of color you have going on, like the size of the diamond painting. Because obviously the bigger the diamond painting, the more drills you have, and usually the more colors you have, typically. Not always, but usually. So, with the simpler diamond paintings, you know, the smaller ones or the ones with fewer color, I tend to not sweat over it as much because, you know, if it has 12 colors, it's not a big, you know, it's not that much. But the 34, the 50 color, that can get a little bit crazy. 934. So I'm also going to do a video on cut that just a little bit more, on things that I do differently now, because I haven't posted in a while, and I especially haven't posted about like tools in like 8 months. So I wanted to do an update video about what kinds of things I use now that I didn't think that I would in prior videos or months ago. I've sort of tried to, you know, streamline my process a little bit, get more efficient with it. You know, I mean, not that I want to rush through diamond paintings. That's not the point, you know, to rush through and do them as fast as you can. But especially when I was, you know, having to turn out a lot of paintings for Christmas, I wanted to get them done efficiently. So I figured out ways for me, that help. So I want to do an update and then like a diamond paint with me. I don't think I'm going to get to that tonight, but that's coming, hopefully. So, and I say hopefully because anything can happen. You never know. So something I just noticed just now when I did that last color was that I didn't pull it out of the pile. And I'm talking at the same time that I'm doing this, so it can get a little bit, you know, I can lose track a little bit. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you pull it out so you're clear, because once you cut this symbol, yeah, I have a copy and I can look at it, so I'm never completely, you know, screwed. But if you didn't make a copy of this, then you'd want to definitely make sure that you pull the color aside that you're going to use, so that when you cut the symbol, you know exactly which color it is and what DMC code it goes to, because I just almost made that mistake. Oh boy. All right. 3023. 3023. Oops. That's where that little piece of tape went. All right, let's see here. 3023. Yeah, I haven't posted a lot, and I was going to explain that in one of my Diamond Paint With Me videos. But I guess I'll explain it a couple times in case people don't watch one or the other. So I have been really, 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 really stressed out, and my anxiety has skyrocketed, and unfortunately that meant that I had to cut out every possible extra thing that I could possibly cut out of my life that was causing any sort of stress whatsoever. Not that doing videos is stressful, but it's just like one more thing I have to do, like I have to worry about, or like because I like doing this. I love diamond painting. I really wish I could do this full time, but I can't. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a preschool teacher, and I helped open a brand new preschool this past September, and I moved at the same time. So I was super, super, super busy, and I also moved. Everything about my life was different at that time. So I sort of took a hiatus from everything that was stressful, and now I'm in my last semester of grad school. I graduate in April, so hooray! But it's like the biggest class of them all. It's the seminar class. It's like when everything sort of comes to fruition. So I have to do research, and I have to conduct research. I have to conduct research, and I have to read research articles, like crazy. And work has been, teaching has been tricky. I'm teaching a brand new age group, a year younger than what I've done for 6 years. So it's very different. I'm potty training, 11 kids at the same time. And navigating that whole, everything changed in my life. Everything did, even my relationships. I moved away from my parents. My parents used to live, like 5 miles from me, and now they live like 25 miles from me. So instead of like a 15-minute drive, when you take into account lights and waiting at, traffic and everything, I went from about a 10 to 15-minute drive to about a 30-minute drive. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it really cuts down the amount of, or the frequency that I see them, my mom and dad. And Chris and I actually just hosted my dad's 70th birthday party in our little apartment. And it was great. And we had a build your own cupcake bar that I was very proud of. And it was really, really fun. My brother came, and my nephews came, and obviously my mom and dad came, and then my aunt and my cousin came too, and my friend came, and Chris was here. So we had about 10 or 11 people here, and it was really fun. We played a game. Everyone was able to see, our apartment, and, visit and everything. But so it's just, it got to the point, and I'm not just saying, I was a little stressed out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I got to my breaking point of stress and anxiety. which is pretty high. My threshold for stress is, well, it used to be very high, but now I'm finding that it's sort of decreasing. But it was affecting me physiologically. Like, for instance, my anxiety was causing me to feel very, very nauseous every morning before work, and it only happened Monday through Friday. So the weekends didn't feel any nausea at all. But Monday through Friday, even on days that we've had snow days, because here in Michigan, in southeastern Michigan, public schools have had 8 snow days so far, at least 8 snow days so far. I have only had 6 because my preschool doesn't close for temperature. So when we had like a polar vortex, we had the wind chill. It was like negative 35, negative 40 degrees here when that polar vortex came through. So, but we remained open. We don't have buses, and we don't have to worry about kids standing on the, you know, sidewalk at bus stops. So we've only had 6. But even that morning when we were like, oh, snow day, my nausea stopped instantly. So I know it's something to do with work. Anyway, side note, back to this. So I've been putting these 648s in this container, and I have put, okay, there was 19 bags of 648. And I have 5 left, so that means that 14 are in this. Is that right? 14? No way. 5, 648. 19 minus 5 is 14. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. Okay, so these, so I don't want to fill them up right to the very top. So this is pretty full. I could probably fit another bag in here, but I'm not gonna. So what I'll do is I'll put the remainder of these in a Ziploc baggie, because I don't trust these bags for a second, because they just rip so easily. So I'm gonna just put these aside. And then I can look at this copy to see the symbol. It's an asterisk. So I'll just look at this copy. I always make copies of my inventory sheets. It's the easiest way, I think, to do things. So, okay. I guess I'm not going to continue this with you guys because you get the point here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish this. And then I will show you what the end product is. Give me a minute. Okay, so I've completed that process. Here's now the inventory sheet with all the symbols gone. So I'm just gonna toss this in the recycle bin. And I've put the extra drills that couldn't fit into any container in these 2 baggies, and I've cut one of the baggies off to let me know which DMC code it is, and I just put it right in the bag with it. So I'll just put that right on top. And then the last thing I need to do is to label which diamond painting this is for. So instead of using my label maker, I'm gonna just take a clear piece of tape, cut off the edges because it'll be easier to peel off. And then on my tape with a Sharpie, I'm going to write, if I can see where, there we go, newspaper HP, which means Harry Potter. 1 of 3 containers. Because I have these 2 and this one, I'm counting it as 1, 2, 3 separate containers. And then what I'm going to do, just so that it doesn't come off or rub off at all, I'm going to put another piece of tape on top to kind of seal it on there. Now the other thing I can do is I can put another piece, which I will do actually, on top of this one. And I'm also going to write newspaper HP 2 of 3 containers. I had to write really, really small to have it fit, but it worked. So now I'll just put another piece of tape on top to kind of seal it on so it doesn't go rubbing off. And I'll do the same thing on this one. And I'm nearly finished setting up my diamond painting, or my drills, I guess I should say, because I haven't set up the actual canvas yet. And the reason I do this, as I've said it before, I have a lot of diamond paintings that I've gotten like kind of started. There we go. So I want to be able to know exactly which drill sets are for what diamond painting, and I definitely don't want to forget that there's like 3 containers for one of the diamond paintings or whatever. So that's why I label it. That might be a little gung-ho for some people, but my short-term memory isn't what it used to be. So I want to set myself up for success, I guess is what I'm saying. So there it is. Newspaper Harry Potter, 1 of 3 containers, and then each of these, you won't be able to see them, I don't think, but it also says it. And it's ready to go. And here's the canvas, and I can't wait to get started with this one because it's going to be very, very confusing, to say the least. All right, you guys, until next time, thanks for watching. Okay, so I've completed that process. Here's now the inventory sheet with all the symbols gone. So I'm just gonna toss this in the recycle bin. And I've put the extra drills that couldn't fit into any container in these 2 baggies, and I've cut one of the baggies off to let me know which DMC code it is, and I just put it right in the bag with it. So I'll just put that right on top. And then the last thing I need to do is to label which diamond painting this is for. So instead of using my label maker, I'm going to just take a clear piece of tape, cut off the edges because it'll be easier to peel off. And then on my tape with a Sharpie, I'm going to write, if I can see where, there we go, newspaper HP, which means Harry Potter, 1 of 3 containers. Because I have these 2 and this one, I'm counting it as 1, 2, 3 separate containers. And then what I'm going to do, just so that it doesn't come off or rub off at all, I'm going to put another piece of tape on top to kind of seal it on there. Now the other thing I can do is I can put another piece which I will do actually, on top of this one. And I'm also going to write newspaper HP 2 of 3 containers. I had to write really, really small to have it fit, but it worked. So now I'll just put another piece of tape on top to kind of seal it on so it doesn't go rubbing off. And I'll do the same thing on this one. And I'm nearly finished setting up my diamond painting, or my drills, I guess I should say, because I haven't set up the actual canvas yet. And the reason I do this, as I've said it before, I have a lot of diamond paintings that I've gotten like kind of started. There we go. So I want to be able to know exactly which drill sets are for what diamond painting, and I definitely don't want to forget that there's like 3 containers for one of the diamond paintings or whatever. So that's why I label it. That might be a little gung-ho for some people, but my short-term memory isn't what it used to be. So I want to set myself up for success, I guess is what I'm saying. So there it is. Newspaper Harry Potter, 1 of 3 containers, and then each of these, you won't be able to see them, I don't think, but it also says it. And it's ready to go. And here's the canvas, and I can't wait to get started with this one because it's going to be very, very confusing, to say the least. All right, you guys, until next time, thanks for watching.